Hey there, today we're talking about networking. How do we get from the practice room, the studio, out into the real world? If you want to be a working musician, building professional relationships is crucial for your goal. For every gig in my music career, I can point back to a specific person that connected me with that opportunity. Every development in my career is because of a relationship. So we're talking about networking today, and I know this topic can be intimidating for some, but the important thing, if you take one thing out of this video, is to get out there and meet people that are doing the thing that you want to be doing. Before you start networking, ask yourself some of these questions to make your efforts more efficient. So who is it that you want to be networking with? Is it musicians? Is it management? Is it someone to do your graphic design for your project? Who do you want to network with? What types of people in your industry are you wanting to connect with? Second, ask yourself, why do you want to connect with them? Why might you want to work with them? For myself, when I moved to Nashville, there were a lot of specific producers and musicians that I saw that just inspired me. I saw them doing the thing and getting work, making a living, making a career out of it. And on top of that, their art, what they made was really cool. Second, why do you want to work with these people? And your answers might change for the who and why when you ask yourself, what are my goals in my career? For me right now, my goal is to grow my recording network. I want to connect with as many session musicians, producers, artists, singers, so that I can potentially work with them. If I want to be doing more recording, then I should network with people that are doing lots and lots of recording, making lots of records. So what are your goals within your industry, and who is doing that? Now that you've asked yourself those questions, here are some helpful tips. When I first started networking, I was way too eager to get my point of view, myself, my brand, my identity across to the other person. But the first tip is to have patience. Have patience and get to know the person right across from you. My next tip is to be genuine in showing interest in that other person, compared to just, I gotta explain who I am, what I do. There will come a time in the conversation to talk about yourself and talk about what you do. But this is a great foundation to be patient and be genuine with someone that you're chatting with. You build trust with this other person when you show, okay, what do you do? I'm excited to hear about what you do. And I think too, when someone feels like they're being listened to, that eventually in the conversation, they're going to show that same respect and ask you, what do you do? What are your interests? What are your goals? Tip number 3 is to always be working on your craft and be able to explain what it is that you do. One reason that you might be going to networking events and meeting with people, going to coffees, is that you don't have a lot of work going on right now. And that might come up as like a bit of a feeling inferior or imposter syndrome, but I would encourage you to believe in yourself in these situations. If you're networking with people, there's a reason. You have a skill, you have a craft, there's a reason that you're out there. You might feel like you don't have a big resume of all these projects and all these people that you've worked with. Maybe in the downtime, you can be starting a YouTube channel, posting on Instagram or TikTok more regularly. Okay, now you should ask yourself, where can I network? Where can I take action and meet people in my industry? I think one of the easiest ways to network is social media. Now, there's a lot around this idea of networking with social media that I really want to emphasize. Networking in person has got to be your priority when you network. But let's talk about social media networking for sure. First, have a platform to show what it is that you do. You can check out my Instagram. Obviously, you're watching my YouTube right now. These are examples of me showing I record, I make discussion videos, I like teaching, I like meeting people, and that comes across through my social media platform. The great thing about social media is that it very quickly shows the other person, this is what I do. I'd recommend on social media, follow people that are doing the thing that you're trying to do, but also follow even more people that you would want to work with. I follow a lot of drummers. for inspiration, obviously, and just, I love music, I love drums, but I also follow a lot of producers, artists, some management people to network with them as well. Other drummers aren't going to be hiring me, but maybe producers, artists, and managers would be hiring me. Get inspiration from the people that are doing the thing in your industry, but also network, comment on, follow the people that you would want to work with, that you'd be able to work with. And with the tips I shared before too, on social media, you definitely don't want to be super eager and like blowing up someone's inbox, stuff like that. But I think people do enjoy genuine comments of like, hey, I love the sound that you're getting on this song, or I really like what you said about this perspective in your industry. You know, leave genuine comments on those people's posts. Be encouraging and ask questions. You know, reply to people's stories and be like, oh, dude, you sound so good. Or any tips on making this kind of stuff? Okay, enough with the social media stuff. I really want you to take away from this that face-to-face interaction in person in a community is going to help your career. People can be one sort of way on social media, but then when you meet them in person, maybe they come across totally different. And social anxiety is a thing. I get it. I often am very socially anxious in big crowds, and it takes me a while to ground myself and be able to network. So where in your town are people networking? If you're a musician, for example, I would recommend going to live shows, supporting those live bands, pay for that ticket and support those local bands. And after their set, go and chat with them and do the networking thing. Ask what they do, show interest in them. And eventually they'll be like, oh, this person's pretty cool. So let me ask about them. What do you do? Just to give you some more ideas, here in Nashville, I network at places like events. Someone I found on social media, I'll ask to coffee. We'll meet face to face and actually build a professional relationship. Other events in your town that you should keep a lookout for are clinics or master classes that someone might put on in a workspace. I personally wanted to see more of these networking events in my town, so I started an event called Musicians Should Hang Out. And I just invite as many musicians as I can. I try to tell my musician friends, spread the word, send this to someone that it would be cool for them to come to, that they might be interested in this. If there's not a lot going on in your hometown in terms of network events, getting musicians and creatives together, maybe you could start something. And if you get discouraged about starting an event, I would encourage you, people don't often get asked about their passions, about their projects that they pour so much of their minds into. And so I think that is a big draw for these types of events is like, hey, if you come to this event, I'm going to hear you out. I'm going to listen to you. And I want to hear about that recording project you're doing. Hopefully there's some helpful information in this. I know I threw a lot of information at you. Feel free to scroll back and maybe watch this a couple times to let it soak in. So what's your experience with networking? Comment below. I'd love to hear your stories and what's going on in your creative world. Thank you sincerely for watching. Like and subscribe if you're interested in this type of content, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much.